try sharing my calendar. I'll try sharing this. I might turn off my screen or stop sharing in a moment if I start to get laggy. But weather temperature check. How are things feeling for you personally, for the working group you're most active in or leading in our community? And I'll pass to Zeptimus to get us started.
Thanks, Tam. Yeah, I feel so relieved. Like the audit is finished, and also Efra is working on the designs, but my part and everyone else it's done. So yeah, it feels much better. Also, things are going good with Aragon. I look Marco and the rest of the Magic crew and Juanca and Nagen for hosting the party. So yeah, everything's going smooth. And yeah, getting ready to go to Burning Man. I'm so excited. I'll pass it to Rachel.
Thank you, Septi. Well, I'm feeling good. I'm COVID-free now, so that's nice. Then big praise for Gideon because he was more into my health, and also I'm feeling good because I was feeling too much burnout, and there Edu and Tam appears from the sky and tell me, "Hey, I see everything's going to be okay. Just calm down," and and that's it. And I pass it to Gideon.
Thanks, Aslaser. I'm glad you're feeling better. Things here are going well. Yeah, personal front, pretty nice. Heading into a nice stretch of less hot weather here in Seattle. We are babies here, so we just can't handle the heat. What else? A lot of stuff in Sampo is kind of sprouting right now, so this feels really good. The token holder channel is up. We still need to do a little bit of testing on it, and then we're going to post the first post there. So that feels good. Nate's got the proposal up, or the policy for Treasury, so that feels good. Just feels like things are going. The team is really gelling nicely, so it feels good. I will pass to Livia.
Temperature check, right? Sorry, I'm late. I just came I was presenting at the LTF. They're doing this refi boot camp, and it was really cool, and an opportunity also to talk about like ways for us to collaborate. And that made me think of how can we actually support token engineering projects, and maybe this would be good to discuss. They had a few requests where help would be nice, and maybe we can have some time to dig into that and see how the TC can start to be more active with token engineering projects. And I really like the discussions that are happening this week, and excited to discuss the poll too and move forward with it. And I'll pass to, I don't know who hasn't gone yet. Sorry.
Could pass to Acid. Acid went already. Edu.
Hello, everyone. So today, I feel that the temperature check. I think that's what we're doing. It's like a cool breeze. I met today in real life Irem, who is a contributor to Sampo and so on. So it was really nice to have lunch with her, and it's always mesmerizing how some information gaps happens when someone only works with you online. So it was a nice sort of back and forth of just very basic questions that she never found a space to ask, or she never sort of saw a right place to mention it. So it was really nice. It was a really nice conversation. And in general, I feel like this time of sort of calm the TC. It's helping us to be more aware and conscious about things that has been automatic mode for so long. They help us to have more of a present grounding perspective about things. And I'm really looking forward to see what's incoming for the next month after this process that we are going through. Besides that, all good. The only thing that I feel like a little bit cold, it's the forum and the membership post that I make there. But I mean, I think that's part of the right now. My expectations are really low regarding the forum. And now, yeah, so that's my temperature check. And I will pass it on to maybe Maumanu, you just got in.
Thanks, Edu. Yeah, I haven't been to one of these in a while. Glad to be back. Glad to see a lot of people here. I guess we're doing intentions and distractions. Yeah, so the intention is to see what's up with all the stewards, any updates. Also, if there's any suggestions or anything regarding the marketing team and content for a newsletter, I'm all ears. No distraction, and I don't know who's left, but I will pass it back to you, Tam, to mediate. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. Nice to see you, Manu. Pastor Juanca.
Thank you, Tam. Well, things for me have been a little bit like cold, but I like it because I was in a very like frantic pace in my life. But now I feel like we are making progress, but slowly and without pressure, and that's really good. I feel that the progress that we've done in the narrative effort and the web design effort that we are doing with Durgadas in Gravity is really cool. And I'm also looking forward upcoming events. We are planning to make something about welfare in DAOs. Also, as Livy said, I was also invited to the Refi Bootcamp and looking forward DevCon. So I think like I am recharging energies because things will get into sprint soon. But yeah. And I'll pass to Durgadas.
Yeah, my temperature check. Yeah, kind of had to deliberately go cold a little bit on the TEC stuff apart from dealing with the Gravity website. I've dropped out from a lot of my DAOs participation. But on the other hand, I also did a 30-day water fast and, recovered from that. And now I'm riding 100 plus kilometers every other day or so. So that's nice. So kind of rebuilding my life a little bit. So yeah, I mean, I'm just, here. It's also true that I feel like, in some ways, TEC has evolved beyond some of my interests, so I'm interested in how, Gravity is starting up. So I'm kind of turning my attention in that direction these days. So has Nate already gone?
I have not. Thanks, Durgadas. I guess if I'm gonna do a weather check, and I would say it's one of those like sunny days where it's like sprinkling, so that like happy rain. I think that this is kind of a moment where we're kind of coming out of really reevaluating how we do things in the TEC, and I think it's really great. I think there's a lot of momentum in that direction. Just kind of a self-reflection. I think we're going to be better off for it. So, yeah, pass it back to you, Tam.
Makizi, would you like to share temperature check on how you feel like you're doing, or any of the working groups that you are participating in? or maybe Miguel?
What are the questions?
Is it me or I'm not listening to anything?
Yeah, Tam, are you having connection issues?
And I think Miguel, you're also getting cut, so we cannot listen to anything that you have said in the past minute.
Hey, hello.
We can hear you. Yeah. Hey.
Yes.
Okay, what are the questions? Sorry.
No worries.
This-
So basically, welcome to the Stewards call, and we encourage you that if you have a temperature check on our community, anything that you feel like sharing about our community or about yourself about the past weeks, feel free to share it.
Okay. Today's like a sunny day. It's a good day to get into the pool. Maybe later I'm gonna jump on the pool, in the pool. um, I don't know. I'm just checking what you guys are doing here. Past weeks I have working on a video, the audio side of a video here in the TEC, and I don't know. I just want to get more involved, and yeah, I don't know who's not passed yet.
Thank you, Miguel.
Yes.
Tam, there you go. We lost you again, I think, Tam.
I think Makisi is the last one to go.
Yeah, I think he was not unavailable to speak. So let's try to wait a minute until Tam fixes the connection.
Okay, I think I'm back now. I'm not going to try to share the screen. Can I ask someone to please share the agenda? I apologize. So, sorry, I left before I heard whether Makizi was able to share or was interested in sharing. I think everyone else has gone. Is that right? Okay.
Everyone has gone Tam so far.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So there, next would be like any votes on gardens or snapshot that we need to talk about. Having a quick look at gardens, I think it's still the two proposals, the comms Teams DAO support for TEA team and the team translation funding adjustment. So those are two that are still not passed. And we'll perhaps have more conversations with Acid Laser about comms. He's taken on giving a sort of state of comms for the stewards to do some advice process on what we should do going forward. So thank you so much for doing that, Acid. It's super helpful. And I think maybe some of these votes and the time that they're taking to pass might be indicative too of the community's lack of signal for support for this. So it's something that we should incorporate into the future planning for comms. So working group feedback on how we're doing and improvements we should make. I don't know, Olivia, can I pass this to you to sort of give an update or explain the context as well as give an update?
Yeah. Thank you, Tim. Yeah, that was more like not only working group feedback, but also some type of sentiment analysis between us and all the token holders. So I feel like we've been a little bit siloed in our feedback loops within the stewards and new members that join the community. But there is a wide portion of the community that we haven't been hearing for a long time, or that we don't really have a space where difficult discussions could happen. So I was thinking to create some type of form to have input, and then I talked to Gideon and he suggested using Polis. That could also be a good idea. And we went back and forth into this a little bit, and there was already some feedback on the questions that should be there. So I updated the questions. I think now it should be in a good place to share. Some of them were a little bit weird. Like, I think the hardest one was, okay, how do we understand how working groups are doing in people's, but like, how do we ask that question? And on Polis, you just agree, disagree, or you're neutral about statements, and you can add different statements. So Edu gave a good idea that's what I end up going with. That was asking if people were knowledgeable about certain working group. And then for the ones that I think people are definitely knowledgeable about, like transparency, for example, that's very obvious, like asking a little more specific, like if people are aware of what transparency is focusing on. And then for comms, asking more about like the narrative and tone. Are people agreeing with the narrative and tone, or how comms has been making decisions? And for gravity, if people feel comfortable using gravity as a conflict resolution mechanism. So it differs a little bit between working group to working group, but I think there was in general like a positive way to asking these questions. So I think it would be ready to share. I would love if people could give one more look. And also on Polis, you can add statements. So beyond the statements that I added, people can add their own. And maybe it would be cool to put that on Twitter. I don't know if that's too loud, or to message people individually, do some type of outreach. Yeah, I think Twitter is a bad idea, but maybe messaging people one by one and organizing a little bit around that.
Okay. Go ahead, Gideon.
I'm not sure what's the best way to phrase what I'm feeling right now, but I'll give it a shot. I think that there's like two modes of asking these questions. One is like the status quo, like how are we doing as a community, and then the other is in the context of kind of where we're at economically. Like from that perspective, the question is kind of more about what we invest in and how we focus our energies going forward. And I don't know how to get at that, but I feel like that's a really important question to try to get some feedback from the community. It's kind of like, what are we doing right now? And then, is this really where we should be investing? And are we doing a good job in those?
Are you aware of the dynamic energy budget work inside of the Omega Group?
No.
Yeah, because that sounds a lot like what you're talking about. So it may be that you'd want to, take a look at some of the text inside of the Omega channel. And we have regular meetings about dynamic energy budget, and those are in the calendar as well. So it might be helpful for us to generalize the usage of that. Since Omega is doing a lot of good work in there, it might be good to, bring that out into the wider use.
I also tried to address that in the questions, Gideon. I added a few new ones in terms of like, are we like, should the TEC stop funding everything? Is that a correct assumption that we have for most of the community? Should we fund like specifically TE projects? Yeah, there's a few questions related to that. That might be good to add more too.
Do these questions list in a document somewhere, or are they only inside here now?
Yeah, is it a good use of time to just go through them quickly?
I mean, we could. I just went through them quickly, and I wondered, it's hard to see what insights we want to garner from this list of questions. And I was thinking if there was a document that had the list of questions, we could sort of then be able to categorize and see the kinds of insights we're trying to garner. I don't know if that made sense. So actually be able to see all the questions in one place.
Yeah, I have them all as the moderator. I can paste it in a document.
I think it would be also interesting to compare things done. I don't know, like what working groups were doing with the budget, and compare if that was useful or not, like previous work.
I will challenge that idea that the metric of only considering money, it's quite dangerous. Money should be, matched with another metric or a sentiment from the working group rather than just focused.
Yeah, I mean, of course, like the thing is, like, if one working group asks for 15K, what they did with this 15K, and then, like, if you're comparing working groups without money, it's like you cannot compare a proposal that have like 1K, like, a Denver thing, and then compare it with, I don't know, the Stewards who asked for like 15K, 50. So I think, the amount of money you request, like, it's also need to be talked about.
Yes, but the money won't provide a sense making about how impactful that working group has been. That's my point.
Yeah, but the
I
thing is,
think
like, we could use the audit and all the things we have, like information is public, and doesn't make sense.
I think the question Edu suggested was good because to ask if people even know what the working group is doing. Because if we ask about the impact that people are not even aware of, we would have a very skewed signal. But if we understand first who knows about what, and then we could ask a second layer of questions, maybe to. But it's hard because it's anonymous. But
It also doesn't map, right? I guess, or does it? We're not able to see, like, this person knows this much and has this opinion. This person knows this much and has this opinion. It's all sort of like. So I think if Polis is such a great tool, but I think we have to have some more strategy and the questions that we ask and what we want as a result, what we want to learn. And then from that, pull this list of questions together. And I think seeing them all in one place, and one way I might think about doing it is looking at 3 or 4 criteria and then asking them about each working group, but knowing that it would sort of be not necessarily, it could be anyone in the community who maybe participates very exclusively in one and not all of the working groups. I think we need to put a little more thought into the questions that we put in here. I think a good start is this list that we're making here, and then maybe categorizing them into what we want to learn and how to ask the questions to surface what we want to learn. There's a lot of people on this call, though. I'm not sure it's the best use of our time and our 30 minutes right now. Maybe we could form a subgroup of people who want to collaborate on this together and set aside, 40 minutes or 45 minutes to work on this together.
I think we can chat about this in SoftGov tomorrow. So if anyone is interested, join SoftGov at 7 p.m. Europe time.
Cool, good idea, Olivia. Anyone else want to say anything about this Polis sentiment about working groups before we move on to the next subject? Okay, then I'll pass to Gideon to talk about Filecoin Foundation grant.
Thanks, Tam. So actually, in order to talk about this this grant, I need to explain what we would be applying it for, which is this content curation service. So I think a number of people on the call know about this because I've talked to people individually about this, but this is actually the most exciting project right now that I'm seeing in Sampo. So this came out of DAOstack. Actually, this was a great example of Edu engaging somebody and like really, this is Shahan from DAOstack. Edu kind of cultivated that and then connected Shahan in this call, and then I followed up and we started talking, and it turns out that what they're building is pretty cool. So what they're building is a service, a content curation service, so that will allow the community to basically work together to highlight interesting information. And so how does that work? So people can come into the Discord server, share posts in a channel, and then when people interact with that post with emojis, that leaves a little signal. So what they're building is a bot that can extract that signal, the emoji reactions. And so because this is kind of a little bit complicated, this is Discord, and then this is a little rule making system, like a rule editing system, and then this is the output. Okay, so in Discord, you've got somebody who posts something, you've got people interacting with those posts with emojis, and then you've got a curator, which could be basically any working group. So the curator says like, okay, I want to only see posts that got 3 hearts or more, right? Or you could say, I want to see posts that have 3 hearts or more, plus this person that has a curator role has given it the thumbs up. And then, but you can change all of those rules over time. And then the output can be anything, but right now we're looking at probably an Airtable database where the results of that filtering show up. And those can then be passed. Airtable is very flexible, so those could be spit out automatically into a channel on the TC Discord that would be like the greatest hits of the community. They could be edited in a little UI there, and then sent out automatically as a tweet from TC's Twitter account. There are lots of possibilities there, but so this is going forward. DAOstack is building this, and they're going to pay for all of the development of it because they're going to be rolling this out to other communities. But we would be working with them if we go forward with this. We would be working with them as the first community to adopt this. And as a result, we would get to have a lot of influence over like how this thing is spec'd, how it works. I think in order for a service like this to actually work, in fact, I know for it to work, we would need some people rallied around it. Like a tool by itself is not going to do anything. So part of what I'm looking at is within Sampo, freeing up some budget to get some folks to actually help with like the community organizing aspect of it. Talked to Acid Laser about this as a potential tool to help with the Twitter feed and being able to like curate some really interesting stuff to send out on our Twitter feed. Talked to Shebnam and Mert about using this for the Consilience library, and they were super excited about it. So the idea would be that the primary use case for this would be as a test. We would set up a channel that anybody could come and post content to, and anybody could interact with using emojis. And then what we would probably do is do like another little trial where in the token holder channel, we'd set up a token holder category within Discord. We would set up a channel that just has like the greatest hits pouring through, and then comms could use it to post really interesting tweets coming from this collective energy, this wisdom of crowds. And then any working group could use the tool for its own curation. So SoftGov could use it for curating stuff within the SoftGov channel, and it would create its own feed of governance-related content. Omega is definitely interested in it. They think that they can use it to feed the Consilience library. So that's just a quick summary of what we're looking at right now. So the grant that we're talking to Filecoin about, it's actually not Filecoin, it's called the Explorer Award. So it's a joint venture joint effort between Filecoin Foundation and an organization called Unfinished. So we're looking at probably like 8 to 9K to help fund some of the operations of this over the next 2 to 3 months. So that I'll stop there and see if there are any questions or comments.
I just want to say that at the beginning, it seems like something very distant or like not related to token engineering at first glance. But then when you understand how, for example, the issues that we have reaching out to people, creating information, how difficult sometimes it is to, surface relevant information for us and for our working groups, and how the weekly update is not working on the forum. Like there's gaps of information. It's a little bit of what we just mentioned at the check with Irem. I think this is a sort of for me, it's it takes what the praise system is intended to do on the awareness level about work, but this takes us to the information level. So it brings awareness about information, and that is collectively chosen by the community. And collectively chosen by the community. So I feel it brings such a nice layer, an intersection of layers to us that it's worth trying it out. And I think it has immense value to things like Consilience Library, or even working groups that have very deep conversations, but that information doesn't surface or connect with other working groups. And I think this becomes like at this sort of point of reference for, hey, I'm just curious, I want to know more, or I want to know what's going on this week. I don't know. I feel it's a very important awareness tool that goes in pair with things like the praise system awareness.
Okay, anyone else want to share anything?
I'll just add two more quick thoughts. One is that the reason I'm excited about this is that I think this has the potential to attract a lot of new people to the TEC. You can imagine if Omega were really successful at drawing in a whole bunch of people about ethics, token engineering ethics, and it was like very easy for people to come in and share content with each other and interact with it, and kind of use that as a way to share best practices and share information and knowledge around token engineering ethics, that actually could serve as kind of like a growing hub, right? And it would be easy for us over time to just create little interest groups like that, right? We might open one up for token engineering safety, right? It would be super low cost, right? Way for us to just have little groups form and create little networks, right? Like this becomes kind of a new way of creating social, like interest group oriented social networks, right? Where people have shared interests and they come and just permissionlessly set up a little group, right? That, could be about sustainability, could be about whatever, right? We could keep it pretty easy to set these up. So I see this as like a critical tool for like this whole shell endpoint services idea. How do we draw people in and get them excited, sharing knowledge, building connections with each other? So that's why I'm excited about this. And I think that we can do this in a way that's pretty low risk, very low cost, and run it as an experiment, just like we're doing with most of the Sampo stuff. See what the results are, and if it's working, then just continue to invest. If it doesn't work, then we shelve it. But so that's it. And feel free if people don't feel like commenting here, but you do have questions, feel free to ping me outside of this call or whenever. I'm happy to talk about it.
I also think it's worth highlighting. I mean, I'm very interested and intrigued by seeing it realized, but I also think it's worth mentioning that it's perhaps one of the first times we're looking for a grant from the ecosystem to provide funding rather than the TEC itself. So I also really appreciate that aspect of this and think it can be a good model for some future experiments that we do and things that we build in the TEC. Okay. And if there's nothing else about the content curation service and or the grant to apply to build it, we will move on. Okay. Juanca, you've added mental health survey by Gravity. Do you want to take a few minutes and share that?
Yeah, thanks, Tam. Well, is that during the first semester of this year, Bianca and Anna were leading this research on psychology and mental health. And product of that research, we made a survey with the intention of mapping psychological aspects of Web3 on DAO participants. So we are sharing this link, and it would be really cool if the people in this call and whoever you want to invite fills the survey, because our idea is that we will gather some data and we will try to analyze the data on the second semester of this year to bring some like conclusions and statements around the mental health in Web3 projects, the mental health of participants in Web3 projects. And yeah, that's mostly just it will take you 5 to 10 minutes, and it's not to do in this call, but you can do it whenever you have time to. It will be greatly appreciated by us. And the other topic that I wanted to cover is that the discount tickets are closed for DevCon, but there is still a general admission. And yeah, I am sorry that maybe I am talking about this after the discounts passed, but yeah, it's just to remind everyone that this event will happen in Colombia and that you're all invited and welcome.
As the ambassador from Colombia, we thank you for that public service announcement. Cool. Thanks for sharing. And then Anyone want to say anything about the Gravity Survey or DEF CON? There's some space to do that. Okay.
Should we plan something for DEF CON? It's already kind of soon. Like, how many of us are coming? What could we plan anything TC related?
You had some ideas about that, right?
I know that the T Academy will be having a hub in the venue, and yeah, we are also from the Ethereum Colombia community. We want to have a Chiva that is like a bus, a very colorful bus, and we will be receiving people in there.
I think it would be a great idea since also T Academy is going to launch T Fundamentals during DEF CON. I think it could be nice if we already have even simple things like, I mean, we can be smart about it and have we in Communitas still have a budget for special things, and we can, for example, if we have great translation things from the comms team, we can like give away QR codes or like magnets that have behind the QR code to translation to Spanish of articles of TC. Like there could be very small ways we can play, like very simple, very low cost, and I will be there too, so I can also provide support on that. So I don't know. I think it could be probably I wouldn't aspire to have a presentation most likely, but we don't lose anything by asking probably Griff. If he knows someone there, or if we, just to maybe a workshop or something, just to something simple, or if there's a side event, maybe we can sort of apply, and we don't lose anything by applying to this kind of stuff. Since a lot of us are going, I think in general, having a small conversation, for example, it could be about gravity, it could be about SubGov, it could be about onboarding, or the TC in general, it could be low cost and high reward.
Applications are closed though, right? For any type of talk or workshop or anything.
Yeah, but most likely there will be side events. I don't think there will be the only place. So something the same line we did with the Taoist, something along those lines could work for us. Or just talk to a coffee shop next to the venue, for 2 hours and invite people to let them know about the TEC. That's simple.
I think something interesting that I was talking to LTF too was how could we gather people to talk about public goods tokenomics? Like, how can we get people together to solve the challenge of creating an economy for public goods? Maybe like an unconference hackathon type of thing.
I think it's a great idea, and the piece to pull it together would be to have the 1 or 2 or 3 people who would champion and lead it to actually realize it. And if we have anyone that has the bandwidth to take that on. But it's a great idea to have something around public goods economics or another workshop.
I can only commit to find if there's any side events or something that we can sort of apply or look for, but I cannot commit to execute it.
I'll ask around.
And yeah, I am also in field, so I'll be in the loop, and anyone if wants like Edu or Livy, if you find some place where we could talk about that, yeah, I will be also happy to support. I feel that maybe on the part of finding out new events, I am not so skilled, but I would be happy to support once we find some place where we could have a space.
I will say then that for the next Stewards call in 2 weeks, we can add this to the agenda to see if there's any update on this, so we can keep this in the loop.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good idea. We could have, in fact, DevCon just be in the upcoming Stewards calls. All right. Anything else anybody wants to add? Suggestions or ideas? Okay. Then the next thing on the topic is we have a Stewards Council this Thursday. There's 4 topics now. I'm not sure we'll have the time to do all of these, but the 2 topics I thought we could do is I could present the Stewards Working Group Transformation proposal that I'd like to post to the forum for community advice process. And I'd like to get the stewards to maybe look at it one last time and to review it. Comms working group would like to do advice process with the stewards as well, and would like to make sure that they have space to do so, specifically Acid Laser, who's championing this. And there's 2 new ones, second transparency audit and bringing params parties to Aragon. Wonka, do you want to share a little bit about that?
I think Septi can speak more about this. I just added these topics to the agenda because I thought they were important.
Are there either of them we should talk about now? We have 12 minutes left.
Yeah, I mean, the audit is almost done. I don't know, we could talk about what's in there in the concept if everyone wants to. And then the other one thing is the dashboard that General Magic built is done. So right now, the next step is going to be hosting param parties, and since many of the people will be out, I was talking with Nagan and Juan to host them. So probably Nagan and Juan will host the param parties, and this will actually give some revenue to the DC and publicity. So I don't know, if there's any question, I'm happy to answer.
I have a question. Zeptimus, what kind of params parties are they doing? They're not launching an ABC, are they?
No. It's just DAO voting. They are migrating $200 million from a multisig to a DAO, and the DAO will have DAO voting with disputable voting. And that's the param part is about. It's just DAO voting. It's pretty simple, actually.
Cool. And I think you meant to add this to the agenda for today, right?
Yeah, maybe I was wrong. Yeah, it was for the agenda for today. It's just that I think it's really cool that we can make param parties for other communities. I think that was like a signature thing that we did that was really cool, and that this is a token engineering service that is something that we should feel proud of, and congrats to Septi for leading this.
Gideon, you're still sharing. Okay. Thanks, Wonka, for adding that. Okay. Then and the second transparency audit, it's when you say it's out, it's on the plan?
No, it's the information, all the data is done, but now it's Efra working on the design. Probably we present it on the community call this Thursday, probably Friday, but probably this week is going to get fully done. And then when it's fully done, it's going to be on the forum as the first one.
Cool. Do you need anything from the rest of the stewards?
Read it.
Good point. Okay, cool. Then I see Eduardo added it to the.
Yeah. I just shared the link to the forum post that it gave no one comments. It's just one this bring to attention compiling to advice process. And the idea is basically how probably I will take this into a deeper research, which I will probably apply to a grant or something to do so. But the idea is that the general sense is this is a test to understand if we take the framework of token engineering and apply it to community building and how it affects community building and how community building can be improved with a token engineering approach. And the first test, of course, is here in the TEC and how we can define being a member by our layers. So it's just a test and a proposal that is laid out on that forum post. Please, it's open to debate, to feedback, and to any question. I will be glad to answer any. Thank you, Tim. Back to you.
Thanks for that, Eduardo. All right, just anything else that we want to discuss before we close this meeting? We're about 8 minutes to the top of the hour.
Hey, Edu, do you think it's worth sharing, like just giving a quick update on the Otter space?
I don't think that since we don't have full access yet to what will be the final product, I think it will be still too early.
Okay.
You're muted, Tam.
You muted. Yeah.
Just saying, well, then that's it for today. And thanks everyone for joining. And we'll all see each other on Thursday for the community.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Tam.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you, Tim.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks.